Hi, my name is Leela Stone and I'm a counselor and I work with a community of practice that was put together between Sacramento City College, Health Professions High School, and River City High School. And the community of practice is sponsored by the Health Workforce Initiative. And what we are looking at is how do we effectively help our students transfer from high school to college, and how do we assist them in being successful in the science prerequisites that are required to get into allied health professions. So what we are going to be looking at in these videos are our students, one in the registered nursing program here at Sacramento City College, who compare the study skills required in high school science courses, their prerequisite college science courses, and then the study skills required to be successful in the registered nursing program. And they offer us their wisdom and they offer us their skills. Now, our second video features Ms. Rocio Hurtado, and she is a student who is part of our Allied Health Learning Community. And what she's going to share with us are organizational techniques for science courses that truly help a student be successful in their classes. So I hope you enjoy these videos, and I hope you learn something of what our students are learning to be successful. Thank you. These three students you are about to meet are in their last semester in the registered nursing program at Sacramento City College.
My name is Caitlin Garcia. I previously attended El Camino High School in the Sacramento area. I graduated from there in 2004, and then I'm currently in my fourth and final semester at Sacramento City College for nursing.
My name is Daniel Rodriguez. I graduated from high school. I graduated from West Campus back in 2007, and I've been attending Sacramento City College since then. I'm currently in the registered nursing program in my fourth semester.
Okay, so my name is Victor. I graduated high school from Armio High School in Fairfield, and I graduated in 2007. I'm currently in my last semester in nursing school at Sacramento City College, fourth semester, and I'm excited to be finished.
What was your experience like in high school science, and how many hours a week did you study?
So in high school, I basically just wanted to get out of there as quick as possible, so I did all my classes and then did an outside work experience. So I basically got my junior and senior year classes cut in half. And science-wise, I took maybe some biology, but no AP courses or anything, just general, just enough to get out.
In high school, I didn't necessarily apply myself, but things came easy to me, so I didn't really have to put too much effort into it. And I had attended a AP biology class senior year, and the amount of hours I put in studying, I would say would be minimal, but I did fairly well.
What was your experience like in college science prerequisites?
So college, once I graduated, I knew I just needed to get my general education, so I did what was needed and required for that. So I got my general ed in 2 years, but then I still realized I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. So I did take a test through the campus that kind of helped see where I wanted to go career-wise, and it was a medical field. Dental and nursing were basically the top two, and they had the same prerequisites. So I started working on those, not realizing that science courses were such a big part, but it took me 5 years to complete them, but I did, just based on economy and classes provided and everything. But yeah, so completely different.
The major science courses were awakening. I realized that I needed to apply myself and that it wasn't going to come to me like it did back in high school or in other subjects. I found that chemistry and the chemistry and biology classes, I put in a lot of time studying to do well, and I made I made all these diagrams and everything for biology, specifically anatomy and physiology. And I ended up, helping my classmates study. I posted all these resources, and in doing that, it helped myself to learn the material. And in chemistry, I was with a study group and a couple of friends, and that was pretty. All my science courses were pretty tough.
Yeah, the thing about nursing prerequisite science classes, anatomy and physiology, microbiology, chemistry, especially A&P, anatomy and physiology and microbiology, they're very time consuming. There is a lot to learn, a lot of material. The difference is incredible. There is so much more to learn. There's so much more to study. I probably spent 20 hours plus each week for those classes because there's just a lot of material. It is definitely a challenge for sure. The prerequisite science courses are something that you really need to be focused on, especially if you want to get an A. And that is what is required to get into some of these programs, nursing. So I recommend that you study a lot more in the college pre-nursing classes.
How did you study differently to be successful in college science courses?
College, just the whole application process was completely different. Basically, just having to understand it, but then having to actually understand how it worked as opposed to just memorizing it, completing the tests, and moving on, because I knew I would eventually have to apply it again in whichever dental or nursing field I wanted to go into. So it was more the retention of it.
Back when I was taking anatomy and physiology, there was, I believe it was called the HOPE program. Mm-hmm. And I used that, and it helped a lot because there's a lot of there's models for you to use and get extra help with material that you're not quite understanding. And I found it to be really useful. In chemistry, I just met with classmates, and we studied together.
Well, I think that I just realized that if I'm going to get into nursing, it's going to be I'm going to have to be really focused and determined throughout the program, and especially starting with the prerequisites.
In your registered nursing program, how many hours a week do you need to study to be successful?
It completely depends on your learning level, what previous job experience you've had. For me personally, I do dental assisting. I also graduated at Sex City with dental assisting, but so I had a little bit of healthcare behind me. So I know first semester was pretty easy for me just because I already had a little bit of healthcare experience, but after that it was completely different. It's probably 20, 25, 30 hours a week depending on if it's a test week, and it just depends on if you know your studying style and then if you can actually use it and apply it.
I tell everyone this, you're never done studying. You're always going to be studying, and if you think you've done enough, you haven't done enough. You just have to keep on studying. There's no cap if you want to be successful.
How is the RN program different than your prerequisite science courses? How are you studying differently to be successful?
So the science courses that you take as prerequisites, you're now not only having to know them, but you're having to learn how to apply them, and specifically for nursing, what the nurse is going to do, the interventions, how to evaluate the patient, the course of action. So you're taking it to a completely different level, and then on top of that you have the test taking style, which is called NCLEX for nursing, but that's the same way as far as the test styles too. So by the time you get to fourth semester, you're going to have to really know your test taking skills in order to actually graduate, basically.
In my prereqs, I found that it was a lot of material. It was material you needed to memorize and then be able to answer the questions. In my nursing program, the material that you learn is on the test, but it's more about applying what you've learned and thinking outside the box of how this relates to this, and then you got to come up with the answer.
If you could do something different in your past education during high school and college, what would it be?
I would change, before I didn't know what I wanted to get into. If you're interested in an allied health program or healthcare, I'd recommend you get your science prereqs done as soon as possible, because those are really difficult to get into. It's very competitive. And if you're in the registered nursing program or any program, I recommend you be on top of all the material, because if you fall behind, you'll have a stressful time to do well.
I wouldn't do anything differently. I'm 26 now and gonna finish pretty soon, so I think that this is a pretty good age to finish nursing school or college. I think that it depends on who you are and what you want to do. If you are very focused and right out of high school and you think that nursing or healthcare is the way to go, or whichever path, I would recommend starting as soon as possible, getting those pre-nursing science classes or any other classes done.
So if I actually knew what I wanted to do in high school, even if it's just me knowing that I wanted to go in the healthcare field, a lot of people don't know that you can start taking college courses in high school and get like dual credit for it. So I would definitely recommend that, even if it's just to get a head start on college courses. And then secondly, if you do know you're going into a healthcare field, because we all pretty much have the same science prereqs and other prerequisites, I would suggest getting a head start on those so they don't back you up later on.
On behalf of the faculty of Sacramento City College and myself, I am pleased to confirm, to verify that each one of these graduates has completed the rigorous associate's degree nursing program and all the requirements therewith. Ladies and gentlemen, we are confident that each one is ready to assume their role in healthcare as professional registered nurses. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our December 2014 class.
It sounds official, doesn't it?
Hello, my name is Rocio Hurtado, and I graduated from Luther Burbank High School, class of 2012. And I currently am a student here at Sacramento City College, and I am part of the Allied Health Learning Community. And this semester I am applying to transfer, and in the springtime I'm applying for my nursing schools. And I'm here to help you guys with some study tips that help me in my science courses. So transitioning from high school study habits to college study habits, you need to work with your time. A class in high school is around 1 hour, but when you get to college, especially your science courses, you have a lab class and a lecture class, which is around maybe 5 hours per day and ends up being maybe 10 hours or more per week. So you have to manage your time of being in class and your study time and all the other things you have to put together to that class. So the best method that helped me was a master calendar. And for every class I had about 4 or 5 classes a semester, and I would specify a color for each class. And I would put like deadlines, or if I had a paper due, certain like, big exams, I would definitely put in my big master calendar, so I would know ahead of time how much time I had to study, what were the deadlines, to make sure that I did not miss anything and that I had sufficient enough time for me to work on everything I needed to work on. So when you start your semester in college, your professors will give you a syllabus, and in the syllabus you will see what your assignments are coming up, when your exams will be, and what your units and how the course will flow. And from there you can prepare your binders. And the method I would use half-inch binders that would specify to a certain unit in which a following exam would come, and I would focus all of my information and all of my classwork in that binder. I would place all my sheets in that certain unit. For my science courses, I would have a lab, and in my lab I would put in all my pictures that you usually get off of an online source in which the professors post a lot of pictures and additional information, which is expected for you to print out and take to class. To help me begin study, I would do prep work, and in that I would need I would get these ring binders, and I would find them, you can buy them in bulk at Office Depot or at a Target or whatever you can find them. And I would use note cards. I would also use a long array of markers of different shades and colors, or color pencils or color pens, because I color code my classes and my subjects and whatever topics. I would also use paper clips or whatever, something to hold the information together, to pair it together. To help me study, I would print out my professor's study guides that they would provide for the exam, and I would use a converter from PDF to Word, so I would have more space to add in information. And then from there I would color code like certain topics or subjects that I already knew were combined in lecture or lab, and I would make charts to help me put all the information together. And my professor would provide us with a lot of pictures and extra information, but I would also want more information, so I would add more pictures just to help me visualize and help me connect the topics together. Also, for a lecture, I would print out also the PowerPoints from the professor, and from there I would highlight and I would write my notes alongside, because following a professor, they speak very fast and the content is very heavy, so to write everything down is impossible. So I felt like this was easier, and with the rings you could just flip it through like a book and it would make life so much easier. And then also I would use a lot of charts. It would help me organize information very well. And to help me keep track of units or definitions of words, I would write them down in index cards, and I would cut them in half, because some words aren't that long, and I would place them in a ring so they would be easier to flip through, and they don't get lost if you're traveling with them and you're studying at the same time. Also, you can use paper clips if you don't want to do the holes, and I would draw like methods of how things are changed from one state or another. I would draw pictures to help me make sure that I knew how things were formed and what connected with what elements. So for my master calendar, at times I would put some of the most important exams or assignments that I needed into my phone, and I would color code my phone into depending on my class. Sometimes like one class would be pink, another class would be green or yellow, and they would signify exams or assignments. And I would do this every 2 weeks just to know what was more important, and I would set alarms. Like I would set an alarm maybe that next day or 2 days in ahead to make sure that I was up to studying and that I knew I had a certain amount of knowledge already by that timer. And I would just set more alarms, and it would help me span out my study time and give me a boost that I have a big exam due, and I know I have how much time left, and that would help me a lot to study, to manage my time. Also, to make sure that I never forgot anything to do when I came to school, I would have a checklist. I use an app called Color Note, and in that app you can create a list, and my list would be my college, Sacramento City College, and in there I would write things I would have to do for that week or that day that I wanted to get done. Like I would say I would need to go to my professor's office hours, I needed to go turn in a form in a certain building, or email my counselor, and when I would be finished, I would just check it off on the list, and it would be a good reminder for me to feel that I had finished that assignment that I needed to be done, and it was a good list to see what else I needed to do, or if I needed to take something else to school, which helps you like take advantage of the time you are at school. Well, I hope these study tips will help you as they've helped me, and I wish you all luck in your science courses.
This video was made possible by the California Community College's Chancellor's Office Sector Navigator Grant, number 13151-004.